What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video, and welcome to your daily news report and economic update for Friday, June 3rd. So this morning was a very important morning. We got the new jobs report. I want to address what's going on there because we're seeing some major changes. I want to address what's happening. We're also going to talk about the bipartisan energy bill and how it could be tanking as we speak. So again, if you're not sure what this is the bill that Senator Joe Manchin's been pushing for, that President Biden really wants. We could see climate change because of this, but this is what's being discussed at this point. So I'll address what's going on there. We're also going to talk about how Tesla is planning on cutting about 10% of their jobs. This is because of Elon Musk saying that he has a super bad feeling about our economy. So we will see what happens moving forward with that, but let's get right into the update for today. And all I ask is if you can take just 2 seconds, go ahead, hit that like button, as it really does help out the channel. Okay, so let's start off with the new jobs report from today. Here's what we know. Our unemployment rate is unchanged it's 3.6%. Pretty much exact same thing, right? We're not moving too much there, but U.S. payrolls increased by 390,000 jobs. Okay, this is huge, and I'll explain why in just a moment. And then on top of this, we saw wage growth is just 0.3% month over month. Okay, that's good. That's 3.6% year over year. Okay, or annualized. That's not bad, because what we were seeing was there was a chance we would see wages grow more than inflation at 8.3%. That would have been troubling. If we see inflation is 8.3%, let's say we have wage growth at 9%, what we are likely to see is a wage price spiral. And I addressed this earlier this week, is that we were not seeing that. That was good news, because if we see a wage price spiral, what is likely to happen is the Federal Reserve will just pull the rug out from underneath us. They'll raise rates. They'll, it'll go sky high almost instantly, and there's nothing we can do. And if you're invested into the markets, you are going to be hit hard, right? So good news is this is not looking like it's going to happen. Now, here's what we are looking at right now, though. The moderation in wage gains is a good sign that things aren't spinning out of control. Okay, that's good. We know that with rising rates, and this has been working for the Federal Reserve because we are seeing a slow to our economy, but it doesn't mean that the Federal Reserve is out of the woods just yet. And as I said this the other day, a bad jobs report would be a win for the Federal Reserve, because they know, okay, we've been raising rates, and if we don't see companies hiring, that means we are doing our job. That means we are slowing down inflation. But that was if a bad report was to come through. The bad report would have made the Fed's job much easier, as it wouldn't have needed to raise rates as quickly each meeting. But obviously, that didn't happen when we see 390,000 jobs. Payrolls increased by 390,000. That's not it. So, here's the other thing. We saw labor force participation increase by 62.3%. Now, this was driven by gains in leisure, hospitality, transportation, and warehousing. The big decline this month was in retail. But this is something that I think we all predicted, because as consumers run out of money and they cut back spending on retail goods in order to pay for gas and food and their housing, right? We knew this was coming. It wasn't a shock. So when I read this, it's like, yeah, kind of saw it coming. But here's what we're looking at now. The Fed is likely to keep increasing rates by 50 basis points for the next 2 to 3 meetings. We know it's going to happen in July. We know it's going to happen in August, right? We know this is happening. We know it's coming. The only difference is what's going to happen in September and moving forward. Well, here's what I can tell you. According to reports this morning, the determining factor now will be the next jobs report and the next two CPI reports, which we will have another one next week. So if we see CPI, which we're sitting at 8.3% currently, if we see this drop into the sevens this coming week, okay, or really this next month, then the Fed's rate increases will likely slow from September to January. At least that's the expectation at this point, okay? But keep in mind, things can change, and if they do, they can change quickly, and we may not be prepared. So this is one of the reasons why I say to be prepared. And again, if you have questions on any of this stuff, you can always ask your questions down in the comment section below. But while we're talking about jobs, let's also address the news this morning that the Tesla CEO, Elon Musk, he sent out a letter to executives saying that the company needs to cut about 10% of jobs. While Elon Musk says he has a super bad feeling about the economy, he has been on record recently talking about the potential of a recession very soon. He honestly believes we are in a recession right now. I have a feeling we are in a recession, or we are very close to it. But again, we'll know more very soon. But this move that Elon Musk is considering making, cutting or pretty much stopping all hiring, there's a hiring freeze that has been implemented, and cutting potentially 10% of jobs. This is a huge move because Tesla employs more than 100,000 people across the company. So a 10% job cut would equal 10,000 people. That's pretty massive. Okay, that's a pretty good amount of people. But I want to explain why Tesla's doing this. Because if you read the reports, Tesla's doing great. Tesla's doing great. They're one of the companies that haven't really been impacted too much. Well, yes, the demand for Tesla cars and electric vehicles is still pretty high. And as long as we see gas prices remain over $4 a gallon, the expectation is electric vehicles are still going to sell better than they have been in the past. Well, today, we now know that the average price per gallon for a gallon of gas here in the United States is $4.76. That is a pretty substantial jump from just a month ago, when now we're up like 50 cents. 50 cents a gallon in 1 month. But the worry right now is actually what's going on in China. It's not what's happening in the United States. It's not inflation. It's what's going on in China. The Tesla factory in Shanghai, China, they have struggled to restart due to prolonged lockdowns. We know this. There's people that are just boarded up in their homes. They cannot leave. They're locked in their homes. There's big fences and gates outside. They cannot leave. So they can't go and produce more cars. That's not happening. But this isn't just Tesla that's stopping all their hiring and cutting jobs. This has been on the minds of many CEOs for quite some time. Honestly, we see this every single week. Oh, this company is considering letting go of X amount of employees. This company is looking at letting go of this many people. It won't be long before we are seeing more major companies start letting employees go while they do their best to just remain profitable during these tough times. And again, it's going to happen. That's the expectation. So we'll see what happens there. As always, I will give you all the latest news and updates as we get them. But here's something that I was reading just the other day. I want to talk about the bipartisan energy bill that was supposed to be getting worked on as we speak, but it's not. According to new reports, what we now know is the bipartisan bill has all but fallen apart since Republican senators believe Senator Joe Manchin is working on a deal with Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. But the reason why this is such a big deal is because a bipartisan energy bill would leave out the majority of the priorities that Democrats had. For instance, now that if the bipartisan bill is dead, now what we know is Democrats can include things like the green energy tax credits and the necessary tax increases to pay for them. But this wasn't on the table if a bipartisan deal was to be reached. So, big change there. Democrats are actually pretty happy about it. We also know the other day that Senator Kevin Cramer stated that Senator Joe Manchin informed Senate Democrats that a budget reconciliation is likely the route he's going to be taking, which means he knew a bipartisan deal was not going to be reached. But at the same time, he continued to work towards that, which angered many Democrats because they said he was just toying with them and waiting for the last minute to either say, yes, let's pass a bill, or no. But Democrats wanted to do it many months ago. Now, remember, House Democrats wanted a deal on this, and they wanted to make sure that this was passed before Memorial Day. That day came and went. That was last week, right? Or Monday. Now, what they want is to see negotiations. Again, this is just the timeline that we know of now. But they want to see negotiations take place before July 4th, so a month from tomorrow. They want to make sure the negotiations are taking place before then so that they can go on their July 4th recess. They will come back. They will pass the bill before their August recess, and everything will be good. That's at least the expectation as of right now. So again, everything is starting to change. We're starting to see some clarity from Congress, which is good news. But again, that clarity is still few and far between. So we'll see what happens there. As always, as I know more, I promise I'll come back on and share all latest news and updates again. Just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.